Hey guys. Um, so Genesis. Genesis. Um, I just wanted to speak a little bit about all the things that are being brought forward to you right now that you're seeing, hearing, believing, whatever. Take notice of them. And I wanted to speak about Genesis, and I wanted to separate it from the Genesis of the Bible, the Genesis of whatever we believe to be, whatever we're reading or seeing, what the true Genesis is. Because what I'm getting is that the definitions that have been watered down, and derivatives of derivatives, which is, we want to concentrate the definitions. We want to concentrate them more and more and more until you get to the point where you now have excelled the concentration level in this physical third density, and now you move into the spiritual unspoken definitions of what truly is. And so I just wanted to talk about Genesis. Genesis is not a Bible verse. It's not a book in the Bible. Genesis is before the form and before the creation, and who you were before all of these things that you think you are or that you think you know today. And so I just wanted to say that Genesis, go back into this, undo all of what you've learnt about Genesis, and move into the Genesis of the empty place, the empty in Genesis within yourself. Because what I'm getting is, I'm watching, I've seen some number plates, I've seen some words, I've seen some things that have been brought forth, and they're telling me something, and they will tell you the same thing. If you can empty your cup in full and be in Genesis yourself, undo what you think Genesis is, and go before the foundations and what is being brought forth. So it's these definitions that are watered down, and then we get to a point where we can define these things, and we can speak these profound words that can come out in a frequency, and they can move and change the hearts and who you know around you with these words only of truth, because that's 100% perfection in spirit, that these things will change. But I wanted to talk about Genesis, the Genesis within you, the before the foundations, the before of everything and all things that you know to be true. And I want you to look at, well, it's good to look at the Genesis within you, and not something you've been taught, not something that you're moving through. And because what our eyes perceive, and what our thoughts, where our thoughts come from, are from what we perceive to be true. But the true Genesis, the true beginning, the true end, the true eternal aspect, that there is no beginning or end, but we have to start somewhere. We have to start within, and we have to start with a beginning, and we have to start with an end in this third density frequency that we're living in. So that's a good start. But the true Genesis, it means before everything and anything existed. And so undo your Bible verses, undo your perception of all these different things. And like it says in the Nag Hammadi scriptures, and I'm not sure which one it is, it could be Sylvanus, I'm not sure, but it doesn't matter. It just means when it occurs within yourself, is that sit yourself on a throne of perception. And that means seat yourself above all perceptions, whether there's 7 billion perceptions on one thing, on the truth, or whether there's any perception at all, but seat yourself on a throne of perception, sit above all perceptions, and allow them, love them, love the perceptions of all, because there is a certain amount of trickle of truth in all these perceptions. There is truth in all perceptions, which is why, again, sitting in forgiveness and understanding that, just understanding this forgiveness and this mercy. But sorry, my brain is just getting all these downloads this morning. So take notice of the things that get brought forth to you. Words, personas or personalities, objects, everything. Just take notice of everything that's brought forth to you and ask yourself, Father, what does this mean to me? And then he will give you the answer of what it actually means to you. But Genesis, I like this. I was looking over at a van, and it writes on the side of it Genesis, and there's also a van that next to it that says flare, light. So when I seen this word Genesis written on this van, I had this thing that came over, this spirit that came over me was starting to explain outside of anything we can speak, anything we can know, anything we can feel, anything, all these things that came outside of that. And it said that you cannot speak this, you cannot understand this in its full entire totality, you can't understand these things. But Genesis, and I'm like, holy shit, it's not Genesis of the Bible, it's not Genesis of your birth, it's not Genesis of all these things, it's Genesis in its totality, which means before and in its allness, before the foundations. So start to think with this eternal mind. These things, these things that we can think before the eternal mind, or in the eternal mind and in eternal aspects, these things that we can think of are far beyond any definition we can speak, any words, any letters that come out of our mouths. They just cannot comprehend this. So start to live and think in this entirety, in this totality, in this allness. Don't try and consume it, or don't try and control it or captivate it and gather some sort of learned experience out of it, because you're captivating something that's unpredictable, immeasurable, inconceivable. But it's okay to sit and rest in these thoughts and in this way and in this eternal aspect. It's okay to sit and rest in it. As soon as we try and define this aspect, or as soon as we try and define what it is we're seeing, feeling, hearing, being, whatever, that's when we start to the ego will start to control and usurp and captivate. And that's what a definition is, a captivation of something to try and define it and then explain this is what it is. And it isn't what it is. What it is forever and eternal And what it is something that we cannot captivate. And once we start to try and captivate these definitions or these thoughts or whatever it is, once we are actually taking control, usurping and captivating something and saying this is what it is. Now we're never going to grow into this eternal being that we are inside of us if we captivate one thing, because what we do is we sit on that one thing that we've captivated and we believe it for so long until we unbelieve it. And that's what captivation is. And that's why we've got to hold our thoughts captive, because we've got to understand that there's nothing we can do to sit outside of this rest and this peace and this mercy and this gentleness and this place that the Father's attributes is. We can't do anything. We can't try and captivate it. Now we can best define it with each other by speaking these definitions and these powerful words and frequencies. We can speak them to others, yes, but if we're not, we can't get caught on. We've got to be able to undo everything that we've ever known, everything that we believe. We've got to be able to undo these things within ourselves straight away. All right, I've well defined that. I've got a definition on that, and that's powerful, but I can't captivate that. I'm not going to hold that for my own. I've got to let that go as well. And so we want to let go of these things, and that's the true Genesis, is when we come into this eternal way of thinking, this eternity that's immeasurable, inconceivable, and we don't try and go, oh well, I want to try and conceive at least a part of it so that I can understand it. Okay, that's perfectly fine. Gentleness and forgiveness and mercy, and the Father says that you can do this throughout your whole life, or lives that you've lived in. You can do this until you come to the understanding that this is a flow. It's a river of forever eternal life. So Genesis, the true Genesis, is the true Genesis, and you'll open the first book of the Bible and you will see what a man has interpreted, and his interpretation of Genesis is, and it's written to his best definition, to its best definition. And if it came from a pen and it's in a Bible, then it's man's best definition of what is truly undefined. And so that's where I'm getting with this, is the true Genesis is not something that can be defined and written. The true Genesis is within you. And this true eternal aspect is undefined. It's unspeakable. It's something that we in this third density will never be able to comprehend or grow into or understand in its full, complete form until we're back in the Father in its eternal form. And then we will understand these things. The true Genesis is not what we think. The true Genesis is this eternal aspect. Now, someone can write these things down and try and define them the best way they can, and they can put gods, they can place their definition in and their learned experience of what it is truly, what it truly means. But you've got to go in first within yourself, and you've got to come to this learning yourself. You've got to come to this place yourself. You can't believe anything and everything that man has written or said. You can use it to better understand yourself and get you through to from seeking to found within yourself. But hope this is understandable. The true Genesis is within you. The true gospel of truth is within you. The truth is within you first. And there's not a man that could write, there's not Wikipedia, there's nothing that could ever be in this third density frequency, and from our what we can view, to contain it or to try and understand it in its complete form. There's nothing. It's understood in its complete form within you first, and only within you. Einstein, where he gathered his information and how he gathered his information was because he was absorbing and taking it. And again, be careful of what you believe to be true. Don't place him or anyone on the throne, because he was absorbing the data from the neutrino beams, from the data, the light, the light particles that come with all the data we need to understand within ourselves first, because it comes through us first. So we look at people like him, but he was getting these downloads. Tesla was getting these downloads. Everybody was getting these downloads in order to be able to put it on paper and give a defined definition of what it is, but it truly isn't the full aspect and the full eternal allness of what they were trying to speak. It's still capsulated, and what happens is we capsulate that and we try and best define it and write it down to what may help other people to come to the learning and the understanding of these truths. It may help people come to that, but once you're done seeking and you've found it, that has no hold on you. None of the words they speak is their definition. It's their aspect of what they seen or perceived, and then they best wrote it out for us to understand or come to this complete being ourselves. I hope that's understandable. But yeah, so the true Genesis is within you, and it's before everything. It's the start. And then when you realize and you come to yourself, there is no start and there is no end, then you start to understand that this is just a consistent flow of empty, full, or just empty, or just full. And that's the consistent flow that we need to be in order to get us through these last days, because these last days, they will project all these different definitions and all these different aspects of life and what it is, what the truth is to us. But we need to be able to let go and release and hold on to whatever it is we need at that time to learn and decipher through the information, but to keep ourselves in a high frequency that no matter what, it's okay. It's all good. No matter what you think, what you say, what you do, what they think, what they say, what they do, it's okay. We're learning an immeasurable, inconceivable thing. And so therefore we've got to be receptive and in complete flow of this immeasurable, inconceivable thing, without trying to go, this is what it means, that's what it means, this is what it means, and hold on to something and go, yeah, it's okay, we're teaching each other and we're learning through this, but we cannot grasp this. It's something that we can't grasp. So if we want to be in this place where we will not be deceived through man and perception, then we need to seat ourselves on a throne of perception, and we need to, we don't need, because it's lack, we will be in a place where we seat ourselves in on a throne of perception, and we will allow the Spirit to flow through with this inconceivable, immeasurable aspects of itself in us, and we won't try and grab hold of something and go, this is what it is. because we're truly not going to know what it is. And that's the great deception. The great deception, even the elect will be deceived. The great deception is going to occur. There's false flags, there's everything, there's all these things going on. If you want to be in a place where you're ready to receive the brand new genesis of what it is that you're meant to receive at that time, so that keeps you in that frequency so you can surpass this, then we have to remember these things. There's no man that can teach us this. It's the Father. Trust only in the Father first. Love you guys, and I hope that this makes sense to you of how to truly empty your cup, because these things are going to come to pass, but like Christ said, they come to pass, and that's where we can keep our frequency high, and we can stay in this place of love, because this truly doesn't exist. Well, it exists, but this truly is not the truth. So the truth is written within you first. So let's not get caught up on belief systems and perceptions and projections of man. Let's get caught up on what it truly means to have an eternal heart, an eternal mind, an eternal and forever flow of this water of life, and the true Genesis within you. That's what Genesis means. I love you guys.